Joule skills are mostly designed to solve the specific concrete task, and they're mostly deterministic, as I told you before. So they solve one specific small business unit, and then agents would more be goal-oriented. So AI agents, you just give them kind of goal, what they need to do, and then you expect the agent to work towards this goal. Also, I think within the agentic area, we come from the deterministic processes as Joule skills to the agentic processes as Joule agents, where you cannot predict that easily the outcome, but still the outcome is really important from the agentic world as well, because there is actually kind of human kind of like interaction when the AI agents are becoming more functional and becoming your team players, co-workers.
Hello and a warm welcome to our viewers and listeners to the next episode of the Unlocking SAP BTP podcast. So we're in the episode 124 today, and today is our episode about creating your own AI agents with the help of SAP Build as part of BTP. And I'm very happy that today I have Maria Kondratyeva as my guest joining me for the conversation about this topic. And yeah, let's get starting into the podcast for today. So hi, Maria. Warm welcome to our podcast. Before we start on the topic, maybe introduce yourself first.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Niklas, for having me here. It's really an honor to be here today with you. So my name is Maria, and I'm a product manager for Joule Studio and SAP Build. And my key goal is to empower our customers and partners to build your own Joule agents. And here, I think that I'm trying to always make sure that what we are building within our product is aligned with our customer needs. And my core responsibilities are to listen to customers. I usually visit a lot of different events and speak to customers directly to understand their problems and their needs. Afterwards, I try to kind of put concrete plan into making these problems as an outcome to solve these problems. And then in the end, we are transitioning to building this with the engineering team and make it reality within the product. My career path was quite interesting, I would say, because beforehand I started working as a marketing specialist and mostly enablement for the SAP Build, but then I transitioned to the technical product manager role. So I had all the onboarding into AI as well as you will need to do as our listeners of the podcast or our customers, because AI is quite new topic still, and there are a lot of onboarding needed. I went through it. I made my hands dirty already, and I encourage you to do this as well soon with the Agent Builder in Joule Studio.
Yeah, thanks, Maria, for introducing. And yeah, thanks for joining me as well, of course. So today we focus mostly on building custom agents with the Agent Builder then. But beforehand, maybe we step some steps back and first refresh our minds, because a couple of months ago, SAP released the Skill Builder for Joule. And maybe you can just give us a small recap on that first.
Yes, of course. That's actually a very nice starting point. So we planned Joule Studio beforehand because we had Joule as our co-pilot. And Joule is already great because Joule can understand our customer needs. However, Joule works only within SAP's landscape mostly. So we understand really great SAP ecosystem. However, we know that our customers, partners, you do have heterogeneous landscape, and SAP is not the only platform that you're using in the day-to-day business. And that's how we come up with Joule Studio, the platform to extend Joule. And within the first iteration of Joule Studio, we've introduced Skill Builder in July this year. And here I would say the skills are more deterministic approach to the AI capabilities. So this kind of more predefined atomic operations that can be executed by your Joule Copilot. The key differentiator is that within Joule Studio, you can bring your own custom processes and third-party systems to your Joule, meaning that you will be able to customize and make Joule really yours. And was the first iteration, I would say. And then very soon we are coming with the next iteration that we will cover in today's talk.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Thanks for refreshing on that shortly. And yeah, so I got it now. It's the first iteration of the whole AI story within SAP Build. So today we focusing on AI agents then. So how would you differentiate between a custom Joule skill on the one hand side and then a custom agent on the other side?
That's a really great question because I think it's really important to understand what is the difference. Because when you're planning your AI projects, you always need mostly both the skills and the agents. The Joule skills are mostly designed to solve the specific concrete task, and they're mostly deterministic, as I told you before. So they solve one specific small business unit, and then agents would more be goal oriented. So AI agents, you just give them kind of goal, what they need to do, and then you expect the agent to work towards this goal. Also, I think within the agentic area, we come from the deterministic processes as Joule skills to the agentic processes as Joule agents, where you cannot predict that easily the outcome, but still the outcome is really important from the agentic world as well, because there is actually kind of human kind of like interaction when the AI agents are becoming more functional and becoming your team players, co-workers.
Okay, thanks. I think you already started to answering my next question I have in my mind then. So because we had Joule skills, I understood it's more for tasks. Now we have agents, which is tailored for achieving a goal. And yeah, but maybe you can still deep dive a bit why you, as a build team, decided to develop the possibility to build custom agents.
I think in the beginning we've started already, like we knew that our customers have different processes. From the deterministic world, from SAP build process automation, there were quite a lot of already deterministic processes. And it was quite easy for us to transition to Joule skills as the components of the larger LLM models, but deterministic still. And then we also knew that our customers would need agentic help, specifically with kind of evolution that large language models, the generative AI brought to the market, where we have now this agentic world. With that, I would say we had kind of natural path towards solving different multiple customer partner problems.
Okay, can you give me an example on that?
Yeah, sure. So for the Joule skills, one of the examples that we showed last year was create a ServiceNow ticket. So the Joule skill was using the third-party system and making the kind of transactional operation within the third-party system ServiceNow via Joule. And for the agents, of course, we would do something differently because the agent would kind of analyze open tickets and do some recommendations based on this analysis. So maybe you have many open tickets on the specific topic. An agent could identify these open tickets and provide the example how to resolve multiple tickets based on the last history of the resolution for similar tickets. So agentic is still would be using the creating the ServiceNow ticket, getting information from the ServiceNow tickets, and then kind of bringing in this rationalization, explanation, or advice on top of it.
Okay. Thanks for giving that example to me and to our listeners. Maybe we focus again a bit more on the agents topic, and maybe you can share a bit on the benefits of custom AI agents.
So the first benefit, I think, is tailored automations, and AI agents will allow our customers to automate more enhanced orchestrated business processes. Then we are bringing the true orchestration. So while multiple agents would be possible to work together autonomously to solve the specific business requirement. And there, I would say that the agents would be monitored by humans, of course, but still we will put much more trust to the agent. And then I think within SAP Build, within Joule Studio and SAP Build, we are empowering our customers, our partners to build their own solutions, meaning that we are trying to democratize AI, making it available for the majority of developers.
Okay. So that's then the basic idea and the basic benefits of AI agents for our customers. But we got that an agent has a goal and the agent decides how to achieve it. What could be a list of potential use cases for then having custom AI agents? So, what could be a goal?
Let's take an example, the compensation agent for the talent acquisition manager. Here, we need to understand what problems was business challenges or what was the slowdown from the talent acquisition manager and how we can actually help him or her. And here, I would say we can bring the compensation proposal agent in order to speed up the process of formulating the compensation offer. And here I think it's also important to notice that we could use success factors as a system, and also we could bring the third party system, for example, the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the US or any other source that the public source that the talent acquisition manager used to research manually before. And then the agent could go into all different details and provide the compensation offer to the firstly talent acquisition manager, and then this offer could be presented to the hiring manager and to candidate, and that could benefit the overall hiring process very, very fast. And another example, I think, could be the warehouse operations. Imagine that in the warehouse, the specialists need to evaluate if the critical areas for the specific warehouse exist and how to reshuffle the workforce in the very, very morning every day. And this was supposed to be quite a lot of manual work and a lot of manual calculations to be done. Like we have multiple warehouses, and then one warehouse had more critical activity areas and less power, and then we need to reshuffle it. And beforehand, the specialist should do this kind of within its head or within different tools, papers, writing something down in every morning. And then we could provide the special agent who could do this reshuffling instead, and then with a simple prompt to identify the critical activity areas and to run the simulation, you could get the result within few minutes only. And I mean, I'm just talking about only few use cases, but I think we all in day-to-day activities could identify this work that we don't want to do and we would like AI to do it instead of us, and could make our life easier, but also to bring in the competitive advantage from the business perspective, to make it faster, to make our job less dependent on the manual processes, and get better insights, because AI could bring, I think, a lot of different points of view and different perspectives to your analysis.
Yeah, I can totally agree with all of that. And I really like the both examples. especially the compensation agent. So maybe I can ask him how I get more salary then. But that's another story, of course. Of course, we want to continue. And I think we're already more or less at the half of our show. So I would like to make a small power break, play a small game, or I mean, it's not really a game. It's making a small break and getting to know you a bit better. Um, do you agree? And do we have some side conversation before continuing our topic?
That sounds very interesting. Let's give it a try.
All right, all right. So then let's start easy. What's your most loved free time activity besides work?
Hiking and Pilates.
Oh, two at one. Nice. Okay. Second question I have for you is I know you're in the office in Berlin. So what's the thing you like most of Berlin?
I would say culture. We have so many different cultures within Berlin, and it's so nice to interact with many different people from all over the world here.
I can totally agree. That's also one thing I like a lot when visiting Berlin, next to the lots of vegan food options for me there.
Exactly. The food options here are, I think, insane. You can get whatever you want within the next few minutes.
Yeah. And then last thing I'm interested in is what is your favorite drink?
That's a very tough question. I mean, I think as coming from Russia, we usually drink a lot of tea. And I think this is my power drink. It's not the morning drink because in the morning I usually go for coffee. But then during the day, during some meetings, I think I'm usually with a cup of tea next to me.
Any specific preferred flavor of tea?
No, I mean, there are different teas for different occasions. In the office, I usually go for green tea. At home, I usually go for black tea with different spices in it, like cardamom or maybe saffron or some other different spices, maybe mint. And then before night, I think it's better to doing something with the um maybe mint, I think,
Okay.
just to relax after the
Yeah.
long day.
That's some inspiration for new tastes of tea for me. Yeah. So tea with cardamom. Maybe I need to try that. Okay. Thanks for giving these insights into you. Let's continue with our topic then. So we already talked a lot about AI agents, what they are used for, what are use cases, what are benefits, what's the difference between skill and an agent. But maybe get concrete. So we will release the agent builder very soon. And from a tech stack point of view, how can our customers start building their custom agents then?
So I think the main prerequisite to get Joule Studio is to get SAP Build because we are part of SAP Build. And then the second prerequisite is to get Joule itself because within Joule Studio, we are customizing Joule. And then there is no sense in customizing something that you don't have. And everything is kind of placed on SAP BTP, so it's a must to have SAP BTP. With the agent builder capability, you can already start using Joule Studio with a skill builder, and the agent builder will come naturally later on in this. We already have the basic trial for Joule Studio, so you can try it for free, and it's part of SAP Build offering.
Okay, so that's already good to know. Also, having the option to try it out as part of the basic trial. Um, we're thinking about building custom agents. And of course, within an IT organization, within a company, we have lots of different personas like architects, admins, developers, data scientists, and so on and so forth. Which of the persona will be the main responsible? So, who will create the agents? The developers or someone else?
So actually, within it's a really great question because while our mission within SAP Build is to democratize AI, we still need to define who is the persona who is building the agent for whom we are delivering the product. And here I would say we have two main personas is the process owner, the person who really knows what is being done and who is processing. And the second person is, of course, the developer. And here I think that this should be in the combination of these two, because we need all this to onboard and ask questions to the business users. What is the business processes that we are trying to make better? And then if this something very, very kind of non business technical is required, specifically for designing the API connectivity, for the prompt engineering, then the developer could step in and help the business persona to develop the agent in the end. And I think there can be different scenarios. Sometimes business users can do a small, simple agent for themselves. Of course, the business users who are boarded, who know the processes, who know and understand the technology, they can build some smaller business processes, AI agents on its own. But sometimes a more enhanced technical in-depth understanding of different LLM models, of prompt engineering, of API connectivity, of building MCP servers may be required for the specific use case. And then, of course, the AI developer, just a developer, will step in and help our business users.
Okay, so we have two main personas then, which is the business process owner or the business expert, and then the developer. As I've developed some software by myself in the past, when I think about a developer persona, I think about really making source code, creating source code, making professional development. When I think more about business expert, I more think about making some drag and drop low code experience stuff. So what is the agent builder focusing on? Is it really developing with writing real coding, or is it a full low code experience now?
So, firstly, within SAP Build, we are providing the low code, no code experience. Or currently, maybe you've seen some news already that we are bringing vibe coding into the development. So it's when you're getting help of LLM, in our case from Joule, in order to design your agents and later on your Joule skills as well. And I think that currently here we are within Joule Studio are mostly covering the content-based agents, meaning those that are already kind of predefined and you're having the building blocks in order to design the agent. Within SAP Build and within Joule Studio and SAP Build, we are mostly covering the low code, no code approach. However, we also know that there are a very big crowd of developers who are actually using CrewEye, LangGraph, or Python to write their agents. And within SAP BTP, we would like to support both developments, content-based and code-based. For the code-based, it will be mostly the BTP as a broader ecosystem where we will be providing multiple tools for you to build and deploy your agents.
All right, then let's focus on the first part, which is the low code experience. You mentioned content-based agents. How I can imagine this? Is it like giving 10 documents as a reference, and then the agent can help me answering stuff? Like, for example, I upload travel policies, and then I have agents which can reply to travel questions.
That's a good use case. I think just with the content-based agents, we are just trying to provide the building blocks that you can enhance with your data, with your specific processes. Of course, documents can be one example. Still, I would say sometimes documents are needed to be kind of managed mostly on the special SharePoint, on the special folder, but this would be possible. I think that the main differentiator we should remember is that for the content based, we already provided all the code and everything is generated for you, while you just need to bring in instructions, you need to bring some tools, not only documents, but also you will be able to bring the API connectivity, the different calculation tooling, maybe, or MCP servers if they are already existing. So we are not limiting, but we are trying to just simplify the way the agent design looks like.
Okay, yeah, thanks for giving some more insights into what the content-based agent mean. And you also touched a small term where I was also interested in, which is what kind of integrations are possible. You also mentioned APIs, and especially you got my attention with mentioning MCP. So can it get integrated via MCP, and can it use different LLMs or other sources from the internet to get information?
That's a great question, but let's break it down firstly. The integrations. Within Joule Studio, within SAP Build, we propose the SAP Build actions, where we have access to multiple APIs, B2 from SAP and available within SAP Business Accelerator Hub, B2 BIP integrations, so you can bring in your on-premise system, or external APIs, your own custom APIs that you're using. This can be already done within SAP Build Actions. However, we know that this is not usually enough when you're thinking of the agentic workflows, and there have been introduced a new protocol and model context protocol, MCP. And here, Joule Studio is becoming an MCP client, meaning that we will be able to support any kind of the MCP servers that you can bring. We are not limiting you to only building the MCP servers within SAP, so you can always bring any kind of the MCP server, bring it as SAP BTP destination, and consume it within Joule Studio. And I think this is the key for the extensibility, so you can use any kind of MCP servers available on the market. But here, I think we are also having our own SAP strategy, where later on we will be providing also our SAP servers for our line of business applications, and you will be able to also take advantage of that in the future. I think for the integration point of view, we also need to cover the agent to agent orchestration or communication, because this is also one of the most important questions that I'm getting from the customers. Like, will we be supporting that? Is kind of A to A coming soon? And here I can confirm that agent to agent is coming. We will be handling this later, not within the first release of the agent builder, but later in the next year, in the first half of the year, we will be supporting A to A as well. And this will allow different agents from different systems communicate to each other. Regarding the large language models, how do the selection happens? So currently, within the agent builder, we will be supporting the large language models that are kind of connected to the SAP AI core. It means that SAP has special contracts with the LLM providers, and here we are limiting the training of the models, meaning that any data that is exposed to the LLM model is not being kind of provided to this model, meaning that the LLM is not trained on your data. And this is extremely important. All this data is kind of protected from the high exposure to the all over internet. And I think with that, we are not you will not be able to bring your own LLM model, but we are trying to provide the choice of the LLM models for you. I think you also asked about the searching the internet, Niklas.
Exactly.
Do you mean like kind of web search tooling?
Yeah, for example.
This is still under discussion because a lot of kind of security is questionable here. The agent can browse whatever he wants to, and we are still looking for these guardrails to make the web search tool for the AI agents as secure as possible, and specifically within enterprise landscape. Of course, like sources like within even ChatGPT, your browser and personal life, it's really important tool. But you also kind of have the guardrail in here, as you just talking about booking a flight or something like this, looking for the best restaurant in Berlin. But on the enterprise context, this is still a lot of threat for the organization can happen with the web search. That's why we are trying to limit it, but still exploring this. Um, and here I would like to say that currently with an enterprise landscape, we are bringing the document grounding. So you can bring all different documents that the agent would need to search within AI core. And then you can bring the native connectivity to this AI core. And then your agent will search within the documents, kind of the compliant documents and compliant information sources.
Yeah, thanks for giving this very detailed but insightful answer. So you got totally my attention with saying, okay, we open it up for MCP servers out in the world. Of course, there will be SAP MCP servers as well in some point in time. Then, of course, you brought a very valid point with the exposing of data to AI LLM models. And then, last but not least, I'm very happy, and I think our customers as well, that you are thinking about guardrails when thinking about consuming data out of the whole internet. So this totally makes sense to me as well. Yeah. So then, after now we covered how to create agents, what kind of consumption is possible with these agents. Maybe let's think about IT projects and when creating apps, or in our case, then agents, having developers in some place creating agents, having business experts creating agents in some places, having both of them together creating agents in other places, then we need to talk about the whole governance aspect of these kind of projects. So when a customer or a company now create different agents for different use cases, and as a result, I don't know, I have a list of 100 different custom agents. How our customers can stay in control? Is there any kind like a central hub for managing and administrating agents planned or maybe already available at the start?
So, firstly, I think when we just started talking about SAP Build and launched SAP Build, we started conversations with the customers because Build was before low code, no code platform. Then we transitioned also to pro code platform. And then got some questions or like comments from the customer that governance is sexy. And I think we also need to have this motion within the AI agent creation. So within SAP Build, we already have the standard lifecycle management of different projects. And this will have the same for the agent development or like Joule skill development. So we have the whole control under multiple versioning, the history, and also the development deployment cycles. We're also trying to limit, it's not even trying to limit, it's kind of defining when who is able to use specific agent. For example, when you're building the agent for HR managers, this cannot be exposed to all over your enterprise because this compensation proposal agent can be used by people like Niklas to discuss the compensation later on. And maybe this is not the best approach within enterprise landscape. So you will be able to firstly define who is available, who can build your agent, and then who can access the agent you build. Then, while we are trying to think of the future, we are also building the special place for monitoring the agent execution and agent run. So, once the agents are being created, it's also very important to identify if this AI agent is being used, how it's being used, and if it is successful or not. And here I think it's also quite important to understand what is actually the KPIs of the agent. And we are bringing this s- cloud LLM integration for the agents, for the agent observability. It means that you will be able to monitor the health of the agent and all different success metrics of the agent. But this is coming later on because for us it's also important to understand and verify what is the success of the agent? Are there specific parameters? Are there specific details that we need to consider? So from the product management side, we are still into heavy discovery topic, but then once we are sure that this is something that we are ready to release, we will be releasing this in the beginning of the next year. And of course, we are also looking into the integration with LeanIX and for the Agent Hub that will become kind of central catalog to discover and understand which agents already exist within your organization. For example, from SAP, we are providing the standard agents that are kind of delivered out of the box and functioning within Joule for the SAP processes. And then we need, maybe in this case, it's also in the beginning better to understand, do you really need the agent or can you use the one that are already existing? And here you will be able to understand, discover, and govern all the agents across your enterprise landscape. For SAP agents, the custom agent that you are building, and then with the possibility, when we do support the A2A, understand all the third-party agents that you're also using within your enterprise.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's a very, very good signal to our audience to say, okay, we're not thinking about our capabilities standalone. We are thinking about how it makes sense from a governance perspective to integrate it to tools like Cloud ALM or SAP LeanIX. All right, so now we talked about governance. One topic still missing is then responsibility. So, how the
Mhm.
customers can ensure when building custom agents and exposing these custom agents to their employees, or maybe in some cases also to their customers, that these agents act responsible and under the control of a company.
So, this is the topic that we've actually researched quite a lot because the trust in AI doesn't come within one day, it's being built. I would say this is more as a community mindset shift rather than one day thing that could happen right away. And we all need to understand that the trust is being built with the small steps. And one of the steps could be the function that is called human in the loop thing. So it's every interaction that the agent has with the human is being kind of reviewed by the human.
So you mentioned human in the loop. What's it? Why is the human in the loop?
So within kind of, I know that the human in the loop itself sounds a little bit funny, like we have human and which loop it is, but this is consistent interaction of the agent with the human. It means that there are some kind of checkpoints when you can design that the agent comes back to the user. If the information is missing and the agent does not know how to proceed, it comes to the user. The second point is that when the agent is missing approvals, imagine you have the agent that is kind of working in the background, but then he needs access to the specific source and he needs to get approval from the specific human, and then the agent comes and then with specific rationalization why this approval is needed, what is he doing, what's the goal he's trying to solve, and then the human, the main responsible specialist in that area, provides the agent with a specific access.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about agents, what they are for, how to build, how you can govern them, how they act responsible or you use them responsible. I think there are just two small pieces missing now before we can close. The one thing is we said it's right in front of the door. So when it will be released.
So the agent builder release is very, very soon. It's planned as your Christmas present on December 19th.
Very nice. And then, of course, now knowing when it will be available and what to make with it, how can our listeners, our customers can get started and how they can upskill themselves to really get the value out of it.
So as I told in the beginning, I did all my upskilling as well to transition to the role. I am trying also to kind of pay back and to provide the good learning materials. We are developing learning journeys and different hands-on courses for you. And once we go general available, we will also publish all the materials on our community, on Discovery Center. So this is to get ready for you. It's still being cooked, but very, very soon you will be also able to consume that. And I think the most important part is that already we have a skill builder released. And I think this is the main point for you if you would like to get ready for the release. We have learning journey, we have the developer tutorial, we have discovery center mission, and you can already start building your Joule skills to understand how all the AI concepts within SAP world work.
All right. So then to our listeners, don't waste time and check out Joule's Skill Builder as first preparation before the agents get available. And yeah, thanks, Maria. We talked a lot about the agents now. I think we have everything covered. But before we close our episodes, we always ask our guests for some recommendations. It can be a tech-related book or even non-work or non-tech related book, series, or movie. And if you have a recommendation, please share also why you think it's a good recommendation.
I have two recommendations ready for you. One is from the past, mostly the one that the author was in the beginning of rethinking or its AI components, and his name is Isaac Asimov, and he created a lot of literature on the topic. One of that is I Robot, but there are much more things because he introduced the concept of robotics and how we need to entertain with AI, what are the principles for robots, and how we can kind of more govern them and understand as humans how to interact with all of them. And I think the second one is closer to the nowadays world, but still it's quite behind thinking the three body problem trilogy. And please do not watch the Netflix movie, just go for the book because the movie is kind of strange for me. And this is a story about trying to communicate to another creatures that live in the universe, kind of aliens. And here the person could find a good example of how to behave with them, how to interact with them. And here I think within enterprise landscape, we have these heterogeneous systems that are even not supposed to work with each other before. And I think that currently it's a nice interaction to understand how you can entertain or communicate with the with complex landscapes, complex business cases with a special approach, with creative approach.
Okay, yeah, thanks for these two recommendations. And of course, a big, big, big thank you that you joined me for this episode and we had this awesome conversation about AI agents.
Thank you for having me here. I hope that you enjoyed talking about the AI agents. And if you're interested in more, please stay tuned for more news about AI agents and our release and try it hands on, make your hands dirty. And I think this is the best approach you can do with agents. Start building them.
I can just agree with that. And of course, make sure to subscribe to our podcast to don't miss one of the next episodes. Of course, check out the LinkedIn profile of Maria to don't miss the GA or the release of the Agent Builder. And yeah, talk to you in one of the next episodes. See you next year. Have a good Christmas break with your loved ones and your family. And yeah, until the next episode, bye bye.